You're watching the Eternal Tournament Series.
And here we are, the finals for this Season 6, Week 5 Eternal Tournament Series Open. We've got Kamado on Argenport mid-range lined up against SirRhino on Rakano play. And here to help me break this down is LocoPojo.
Yeah, pretty interesting final match. We're finally seeing Tavrod brought into the tournament. He's performed extremely well, and the Argenport mid-range list that is running him has made it to the finals. It's matched up against one of the standards of aggro, Rakano Plate. And SirRhino has won the matchup against Argenport once this time. He beat Serb previously. But right now, we're going to be seeing exactly how he does it and if he can do it again in this situation. He is running for Vanquish, which is the card that you definitely want to be running if you're facing off against Tavrod. He's got the Hammers of Mights and the Deep Forge Plates to make things bigger. He is, however, going to have to deal with a lot of lifesteal units and a lot of fairly threatening options that are going to be pretty tricky to just set up against. So depending on how much lifesteal gets played out and when those Tavrods come down, I think it's going to be really curious. It should be a fun match.
Yeah, it's all about who builds the biggest thing, right, and gets it to stick. But I do like Rakano's ability to maybe get slightly under the Argenport deck here. But, Argenport's packing a lot of nice removal. Those Varus Favors, Vanquishes, Slays, Orc Runehammers. There's plenty of answers to the threats that Rakano can present here. And it'll be interesting to see how it all lines up, especially once we get to the sideboard, because I think there's some real interesting things both players can do out of there. But with that being said, we're not going to hold up this matchup for too long. We've seen both players so far in the top 8 and earlier on in the tournament, so we don't need to talk about this too much, and we're going to give them the go-ahead so we can get into this action.
It should be an exciting matchup. So the Tavrod deck is not really playing anything at 1. SirRhino is going to have a lot more action on that front. We should look to see if the Oni Ronins come down, and if they do, like what kind of damage they're going to be dealing. This is only one drop that he can play proactively. So after that, it's going to be the Champions, the Rakano Outlaws, the Overseers, all of that kind of fun curve stuff.
Oni Ronin does come out on turn 1, and SirRhino's on the play, so does get a hit in with it before Varus Favor takes it out. But SirRhino doesn't have a 2-drop to follow up. Instead, just has a Silverwing Familiar and a Valkyrie Enforcer as more threats to play out going forward. And here we see the Familiar plop on down. But SirRhino, at least last I checked, doesn't have a weapon for it, and we'll need to find something to bolster it.
Yeah, we're in awkward Silverwing territory here. We've got the one little bird just flying around, not doing anything. Valkyrie Enforcer seems like a thing that he wants to play here just to be aggressive, but he's going to be sad about losing the ability to silence Tavrods for Kamado.
Yep. So here comes Impending Doom number 1 from Kamado. SirRhino has a Vanquish for it and has nothing else going on in hand, at least last we checked. We'll see what the top of the deck provides. But right now, SirRhino's already drawn at least 6 power. That does not bode well for him. Okay, Oni Ronin with a little bit of a buff there. So now Kamado could slam down another Impending Doom, and that's what we see. It's going to make SirRhino have another Vanquish.
Yep. SirRhino without another Vanquish is going to have some issues with Lothrai Falchion. The big problem here is that Kamado just has 5 removal spells in hand. So he's going to be just killing stuff off one at a time. He could go for the Lothrai Falchion here and just try and stabilize, but I think thinning out the board might work out better for him here, especially since he knows that he's got Lothrai Falchion later if SirRhino doesn't draw an answer.
Perhaps the most interesting decision there was to attack with the Impending Doom, right? Because now you're trading off 5 damage plus the damage from Impending Doom to yourself, though, means your opponent's actually winning this race pretty hard. But again, you have all those weapons in hand. And here we see the Lothrai Falchion come down, and SirRhino only has a torch in hand right now.
Into the face, he's going to be above even Obliterate. Not that SirRhino has Obliterate, but a second Lothrai Falchion is going to be such a big deal. And with a Shogun Scepter on the Silverwing, SirRhino can start recovering some of this health. It makes the trade a little bit more even. It makes things look a little bit more fair. Kamado has to decide between playing Lothrai Falchion and just pushing for the win, and playing Tavrod and pushing for the value.
You're going to go Tavrod here. He only had one threat on board right now. Getting a second one was all Kamado was really missing from this draw, right? Look at all these slays and vanquishes. This is actually absurd. So now, yeah, Skij is going to opt to hold back this bird, right? So you can theoretically block and torch with it.
The corner has definitely been turned. Bloodletter can be put on the Tavrod, and like once that value is drawn out, Skij doesn't have a way to really respond. There isn't even good blocks for him here. He doesn't have good doubles. He doesn't have a good way to kill Tavrod. Like there's nothing he can pile on that's going to help him out.
Basically, how Skij theoretically wins this game is, okay, let's say Bloodletter goes on Tavrod like you think. But nope, it's not, because Kamado sniffed out this either Torch or Finest Hour, right? So now this Impending Doom has no answer. This bird has to chump, and you can't trade it with Torch. Where if he had put the Bloodletter on Tavrod, yes, you're gaining a ton of life and probably gaining or drawing a bunch of cards, but he does still get to block your Impending Doom and torch it out of the sky. Again, I don't think it really mattered, but Kamado opting to go that route instead and just dominate the air. And then now if Skij doesn't have a Vanquish here, Lethrai Falchion's lethal.
Really, really big deal. And Skij just completely locked out of the game. Hammer of Might will basically allow him to swing for 6, and that's not going to be enough, especially with Tavrod just right there. He has a double block for Tavrod, but he can't kill Impending Doom, so that's 16 in the air with Lifesteal. That'll be the game.
Yeah, so the tail of that game is, Skij playing just smaller units overall. They might have better weapons to support them, but they need them. Whereas, as we saw from Argenport midrange there, just better singular threats. Impending Doom, Tavrod. We didn't see any interrogators or instigators. We just saw the big beef, and Skij simply didn't have the answers to all of it.
So yeah, very, very tough games, and looks like going to be going into another one.
Yep, game 2 underway here. Kamado took game 1. This is a best of 5, so no sideboarding yet. And Skij again has that turn 1 Oni Ronin on the play. So that's all you really want out of Rakano, at least to start. But double Silverwing Familiar, no weapons yet.
Yeah, he gets to play Champion of Glory as a 1/1, which is never that strong, especially since you really risk Vara's favoring it and losing one of your best threats. But we'll see what Kamado's got.
Yeah, I guess the good news is if they Varus favor your Champion of Glory, they're not Varus favoring your Oni Ronin, but here it dodges that anyways as the Annihilate comes out on the Oni Ronin instead of playing out the Instigator. Kamado will be able to silence this Champion of Glory going forward as well, and man, Kamado's hand lines up so well against Skij. Double Auric Runehammer against a triple Silverwing Familiar draw.
Yeah, it's a pretty rough deal. But on the other hand, Kamado's still at least a power away from those Runehammers, and the Silverwings are doing not a lot, but something.
Yep, so here comes the Valkyrie Enforcer, popping the Aegis instead of turning that 1/3 into a 1/1. Champion of Glory might eventually become a 3/3 quick draw endurance, but Skij's got to find a fire source in order to do that, and instead just uses Torch on the Enforcer and gets in with Familiar.
A Torch on Enforcer prevents the Argenport banner from getting an Auric Runehammer, so there's not going to be a Runehammer response to the Silverwing this turn, but Skij is still got to figure out some way to make these Silverwing Familiars work, and he doesn't have it right now.
Yeah, Skij has a Deep Forge Plate in hand, but is only on 3 power, so still needs to find another fire source and another power on top of that before that plate shows up, and also drew a Shogun Scepter. Again, not castable, and it's just a bird massacre here as Auric Runehammer is just generating so much value.
Yeah, the Runehammers are just too much right now, and Kamado's looking at Tavrod as his 5-drop if he ends up in any situation where he's in trouble. He's not really worried about this bird right now, because if he gets to 4 power, then the only thing that happens is a Shogun Scepter or a Hammer of Might, and he can just Auric Runehammer that. He's more worried about the 5 power play, and yeah, at the moment, that's not doing a whole lot.
Yeah, and there's no power, but again, basically if Kamado isn't drawing power, that means he's either drawing anything that's castable or more Tavrods. But here we go. Dock Reinforcer goes in, gets 2 units off the board. So this Hammer of Might just gets to clear out the last unit on the side of Rakano. And man, SkiJ is getting it taken to him.
Yeah. Auric Runehammer takes out the 3/3 here. This is going to be a quick 2-0 for Kamado as we go into sideboards, most likely. He might have some answers, but that just doesn't look like a lot.
Kamado missed out on 2 damage there, played the Argenport Instigators after removing the unit. I don't think that'll matter too much this game, though, as, again, you're already calling it, and I think that's not exactly too early to call here. Now SkiJ finally finds the power, and it's too late, baby. It's too late.
And we've got another 11 damage coming in. Auric Interrogator is going to be in the draw. No weapons that time, so just 1 draw off of Tavrod, but Auric Interrogator is a fine one. And the second Tavrod is Insult to Injury.
Yep, so there we go. Both players with 5 drops that have endurance, but Tavrod comes with the body to get it done. And yeah, tough start for SkiJ here. In the hole, 0-2 against Argenport midrange. He took, again, as you mentioned, he took out Serb, who was on Argenport 3-1 in the last round. So we know the deck's capable of doing it, and we'll see if maybe this sideboard can help him dig out of the hole and get the reverse sweep. What do you think his plan is to change up here? We talked about how his upfront threats maybe aren't good enough. Maybe that'll change with this sideboard.
Yeah, he might try to go bigger. I'm not actually certain exactly how it is that SkiJ moves around this. He needs better ways to deal with the large threats in the air. And if he can kill those, then he's probably good to basically just set up in the air and win the game before Tavrod becomes an issue. But
well, it looks like he's ready for it because this challenge is already out. So these players are familiar with the matchup, and we're underway. I do think, though, we might just see all of these units in the SkiJ sideboard come in. I'm referencing the Crimson Firemaw, Groundbreaker, and Drake. So they're just big singular threats.
And Crimson Firemaw is especially nice because it prevents Bloodletters from being particularly effective. And that can be really, really important. Or, sorry, not Lava Blood Goliath, yeah.
Yeah, the Groundbreaker.
Groundbreaker.
Lava Blood Goliath is a sweet number, but yeah, it's been a long day, I can agree. Slay just taking out at Rakano Outlaw. Kamado not quite having the start he wants, but maybe these Runehammers will do some work again here as the SkiJ getting in with the Outlaw, but stuck on 2, and Hand of Vanquishes and Torches are nice, but not when you're not backing up anything with it.
Runehammer taking out the 2/2. This double Auric Runehammer looks so bad for SkiJ right now. He has the Groundbreaker, but he's stuck on 2. Any threat that he's going to play is going to get taken out by Auric Runehammer. So, like, the only thing he can do is play power up to Groundbreaker, and then he's still got to spark the Groundbreaker, which is just not really super possible right now.
Yeah, and there's another Groundbreaker. You don't have to spark it. A 4/7 will get the job done, no doubt. And the most important thing is that line of text that says players can't gain life. But doesn't matter. SkiJ's so far away from casting that right now. Instead has to deal with this Bart in front of him. And that's 3 torches down to deal with 1 hammer and 2 Barts. And Kamado, do you play out the hammer on the empty board? Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, it seems unlikely. He's got so much value out here already. Kamado can sabotage out some Vanquishes or possibly the Hammer of Might if he's worried about it. I'm guessing he's not that worried about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, with the Vanquishes available, neither side has any threats. Auric Runehammer is the most aggressive thing that SkiJ can be playing, or that Kamado can be playing, and Auric Runehammer just answers any of SkiJ's threats.
Yeah, Runehammer could show up now, but instead a second Verisphere was going to prompt him to go with that. It's not like the hammer's under like threat of being removed by Torch. SkiJ's already played 3 of them. I think Kamado's just saving it as a 2-for-1 removal spell.
That's that card advantage, and there it goes. Now you can Auric Runehammer. Argenport Instigator's a kind of awkward draw here, just because if the Instigator dies to a Torch, it kills the Runehammer.
No, it wouldn't, because he was immune to damage. So he could have played out the Instigator and just
turn, and it gets torched at the end on SkiJ's turn. That's a 2
Right. And that's why he opts to not play it there. But again, SkiJ's already played 3 torches. I really don't like playing around the 4th torch here by just simply not playing out an Instigator. Like, I think you've got to be aware of your opponent's draw and the fact that they've already drawn 3 torches.
Well, Kamado has a good attacker here in a 4-1 essentially unit, and he's going to be able to slay every groundbreaker that he sees, and or annihilate them, depending on what he's looking at. So another 4 here. He can play Bartholo the Seducer to add some good value in weapon format. And Skij is just another groundbreaker, gets slayed, and then takes
foul
another
shit.
6. Yeah.
Although if he puts a weapon on Bard, it is exposed to the double Vanquish, and he knows about that double Vanquish. So we're actually not going to see a weapon here, and maybe we'll finally see the Instigator. No, still just not even going to leave it to chance that Skij finds that torch. And now just 2 weapons on Bart is the answer here.
There is dead to Auric Runehammer, but it doesn't really matter because there's 9 damage, and Skij is knocked out. Kamado is our champion, and that was a 3-0 victory. Just a surprisingly well set up Argenport tempo run.
Yeah, the Rakano deck just kind of stumbled on its own Silverwing familiars in a couple of those games, and in the other ones it just didn't quite curve out. So just, Rakano played is obviously a strong, consistent deck. It got all the way to the final, served Skij well, but just couldn't put it together once it got here on the final stage. But still, hats off to Skij, and of course, congrats to Kamado. Tavrod, Auric Broker, making his presence felt. And I guess, Auric Interrogator and Bart and Valkyrie Enforcer and Pending Doom, they all had a role to play in this victory for Kamado as Argenport Midrange takes down this tournament 3-0 to Kamado in the finals.
A very good showing, and congratulations to Kamado and Skij, both for their extremely high placement and for winning the tournament to Kamado. Very well done. Yeah,
so I don't know if either of those players had an invitational berth locked up yet, but now they certainly do, as they both made the finals. And here to bring this tournament to a close, it's our good friend and amazing tournament organizer, Rick Henner. How you doing, Rick Henner?
Hey, Rhino. This is Rick Henner, your tournament organizer here. And to follow up on Rhino's comment, this is actually Kamado's second win of the season. And while Skij didn't have a guaranteed slot in terms of being first or second in any of the previous weeklies, he was basically guaranteed making it in on points as long as he had I think 3 record in Swiss or better in this week, next week, or the week after. Neither of these players are new to the tournament series, new to the tournament scene or anything like that. They're both seasoned veterans and extremely, extremely good players. But yeah, I would like to congratulate, both Kamado and Skij for making it to the finals, and Kamado for taking the win. They both have guaranteed their place in the Season 6 Invitational coming up soon. And next, I would like to thank all the players and all of the viewers. If it wasn't for all of you, we couldn't be doing this. Putting this tournament and stream on every week is great. I'd also like to thank Miller Tool and Teehee, our producers. Without them, we could not be putting on this broadcast. And also special thanks to our graphics and code contributors who make our jobs much easier, specifically Mengar for his tiebreaker script and the deck image creation tool. And thank you to our video editor, Kirby, for his weekly highlights and who has taken up a big role in production for the weekly Team League. And a huge thank you to our Twitch subs and Patreon backers. They make it possible for us to have nice prize pools at our events. None of this would be possible without y'all. And our $20 Patreon backers are Chuck Hurst, Easy, Chris Kearns, Andre Pokai, and Seek Power Gaming. And a special shout out, of course, to Mark, aka Chibi Kawaii, for subbing today on Twitch. And you can find our Patreon at www.patreon.com/RNGEternal. And finally, thank you to our casters, SirRhino and LocoPojo. Rhino, do you have anything to say?
I'm SirRhino. Yeah, I've been casting all day. It's always a pleasure to stop by the booth on these fun Eternal Weekly Opens. And if you like my commentary or want to know or see what I'm all about, I do stream basically every day of the week, afternoon Eastern times. You can just find me at Sir_RhinoCast Rhino. So we just brew up fun decks, sometimes do well at draft and sometimes do well in ladder, and just have fun with Eternal. So yeah, always a pleasure, and thank you as always for having me on in the booth here.
Of course, Rhino. And Pojo, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, sure. I'm LocoPojo. You can find me on Twitch TV/LocoPojo if you would like. I stream Monday through Friday with Wednesdays off at 7 p.m. PST, and I appear to have a bug in my throat. But yeah, like you can also find me on YouTube. We do a lot of brew articles. We do a lot of or like brew videos and card breakdowns and other like fun stuff. We play a lot of silly and fun brews. There's a lot of ways to like just see some really cool stuff. So feel free to stop by either of those channels and say hi. I think we're not going to be streaming on Monday, so I'll be next on Twitch on Tuesday, apart from maybe some bonus streams this weekend if I'm feeling up for it. So looking forward to seeing you guys.
Of course. Thank you, Pojo. And as a frequent stream viewer of both of their streams, can highly recommend. All right. All right, folks. Remember, if you want to play in the ETS, it is a free tournament and it is open registration. Full registration details can be found at aReNGeeEternal.com/ETS and in the Eternal Discord server in the tournament info channel. We're starting to wrap up season 6. There's only going to be 2 more events this season, with the LCQ happening on the Sunday after the 7th weekly. So we are rapidly approaching the season 6 invitational and rapidly approaching the ETS World Championships, which will be happening in November. The Season 6 Invitational will be the last weekend of October, with the Worlds Wildcard following up the weekend after, and then Worlds happening on the weekends of the, I believe, 11th and 18th are the Saturdays. Yes. The Season 6 Invitational has a $250 prize pool, and Worlds will have a $3,000 prize pool. And while it would be a tough road to hoe if you have not played an ATS, it is possible to make it to Worlds if you manage to spike a win at the Invitational, or if you manage to take a win in one of our weeklies and take, I believe, top 4 or maybe top 3 in the Invitational. Of course, that all depends on series points, which you can find out more information at aReNGeeEternal.com/ETS/ETS. It's hard to say. I'm sorry. But basically at aReNGeeEternal.com/ETS. At the moment, Swan improved himself to being in contention for the World Wildcard, and Kamado has put himself into contention for being directly invited to Worlds with these top 4 results. And that's it for this week's show. We do this every Saturday at noon Eastern. So click that follow button and leave on the notifications, because we stream on Saturday for the ETS, Sunday for the ETS Team League, Monday for Miller Tool with Miller Tool, and then Lights Out Ace streaming on Wednesday and Thursday, and sometimes on Sunday evening. And once again, thank you, everyone. Have a good night and enjoy the music on the way out.